stuff with Angel Reese and Ryan Clark and RG3 and Caitlin Clark is getting crazy, just like I knew it would get. When I first seen this foul happen, when I first saw this, I said, this finna get crazy. But the sports world finna be on fire as soon as that happened. And this was like 2-3 days ago. And it's still on fire. Ryan Clark then jumped out there and responded to RG3. Y'all know I made the short earlier about RG3. Talking about it, responding to it, taking Caitlin Clark's side with his white wife in the background, and he incited some emotions. You know, now you got the new podcasters, the new sports analysts, that sports analysts / podcasters, to where they gonna provoke the emotions of these new social media fans and use them as weapons. You got all the to where Ryan Clark got drew off sides. I feel like this is a devious move by RG3. He didn't know that Ryan Clark would jump off sides like that. But Ryan Clark's jumped out there. But you know, Ryan Clark, he liked to do stuff like this. He liked to push the edge. He liked to go a little deeper. You know, he got to show the pivot. So Ryan Clark is always going to make it a little bit more personal and a little bit more juicier than what it should be. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what happened. And I think Ryan Clark might have got himself fired. I don't know. Like, what he's saying is kind of crossing the line like everybody's saying it is. I want y'all to hear what Ryan Clark had to say.
Their character, know their perspective, but he does understand hate, because I think he also understands the hate of self. When you look at the
now you gotta hate itself.
All we can speak to as professionals, all we can speak to as analysts. Angel Reese pushed one of her teammates. Caitlin Clark had a hard foul, which is part of basketball. I feel like it was assessed correctly, and Angel Reese's reaction is the sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard foul. That's competitiveness. That's rivalry. That's not hate. And so now, though, when RG3 jumps on to the hate train, to the angry train, and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what black women have to endure in this country, about what...
Now see, this is what I'm saying. Like, I might start jumping out here and drawing people outside saying crazy stuff. We talking about basketball, man. We talking about basketball. We talking about sports. Now that the social media people are involved, now it's, you know, and it's like, I can see both sides. I can see when all these new people that come in just looking for a reason to be upset about, you know, social media people need content. I'm a social media person, but I also was a big sports fan right before social media and all that. So I'm realizing these people need something juicy. It was a hard foul. I know Caitlin Clark wished she didn't have to take it, but she had to take it on Angel Reese. This just spent out in the racism. It's a racism, you know. And I give it to RG3. He kind of trolled a little bit by having his white wife in the background. He's trying to take ESPN. You know, they fired RG3, and he didn't really like it. And he been after Stephen A. Smith and them for a while. But I think he might have got him one, because I think Ryan Clark, he might get fired for this take.
Young black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom. Now, when you look at it, I think Angel Wilson is the face of the league. Angel Wilson is the best player in the league. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the WNBA. And a ton of her fandom has come along with some racial bias or some racial pieces to why people love her so much.
Rusty, you making a few good points. I'm gonna let you continue, but Caitlin is the most important player, and she is the face of the league. Asia Wilson is the best player in the league, and also you have players like Nafisa Collier right there. But Caitlin is the face of the league. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you can slide that in there with her, with Asia, just because she's the best. You know, it is what it is for the WNBA right now.
And so now, if you're RG3, when's the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations to educate you on what they're feeling, what black women deal with, what they're seeing when they think of a young Angel Reese. And the whole time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping. And so to me, it's just another situation that now this young lady has to deal with. When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was.
He want to get
and
fired.
He always points out on social media the color of his wife's skin, as if the color of her skin is what makes her special, as if the color of her skin is what makes her a good wife. I've met the lady, I've had a conversation with her. I think she's more than that. But it also leads to what black women deal with a lot from black men who have chose to date or marry outside of their race. They always feel like they have to go the extra mile to prop up the woman that they're married or the woman that they're with over black women.
And this could be true.
I feel like we should have an opportunity.
Let me say this. This could be true what he's saying, but this is a conversation you have without a camera on. This is still sports, y'all. Or are we gonna let the social media people opinion? It's gonna overpower sports. It's gonna overpower the people that's been watching sports for 20 and 50. You do know sports been around for like hundreds of years before social media, right? This is why I feel like I'm not. Let me just play it because I don't want to get caught up in this my damn self. Let me play it.
Be great in her own right, as Caitlin Clark is as well. Caitlin Clark is a likable and lovable superstar. She pays homage to the stars of the past. She pays homage to the black women that have come before her. And now she is carrying the mantle forward. So there's no need to pin those two against each other and paint them based on stereotypical tropes. And I think this is what I'd like RG3 to know, that no matter how much he continues to echo the microaggressions of racists, he'll be no less black than me.
Now, Ryan Clark, he was hitting on some points, you could see.
Say, like I say, man, Robert Griffin, you're an evil genius, bro, because you knew you was going to draw somebody outside. Now everybody's calling for ESPN to fire Ryan Clark behind his take. You got to understand, Robert Griffin made his video, but Robert Griffin, he don't work for ESPN. Like, I think, Ryan Clark forgot that. He did that. Ryan Clark, you might have should have not said nothing at all, man, because you work for ESPN, man. And they already fired all them people, so they don't mind firing people. But Ryan Clark got the pivot, and he got ex-NFL money, so he probably ain't hurting anyway, but it's just like, this is turning into way more, this is turning into, now Robert Griffin, you sat back there, you addressed the issue with your wife's back there, then you even said that your wife took Caitlin Clark's side, and your wife said that it was a retaliation foul and all that stuff, so you already know what that's gonna do to people, cuz you know what that's gonna do. But it's here now. Ryan Clark done jumped all the way out there. Let's see if he get fired or not. They already fired Shannon Sharp, Michael Irvin, Keyshawn Johnson, Max Kellerman. They don't mind. ESPN do not mind firing people. So I just think, man, Ryan, you might have got pulled off sides, because what Ryan was doing was Ryan was pandering to all the comments. Ryan heard all the women jump out there and say, but Robert Griffin got a white wife, and his white wife taking the Kay Clark side, and he married a white girl, so of course he gonna be the, he jumped. Ryan Clark seen all that social media backlash and decided, I'm gonna jump out there and address Robert Griffin, motivated by all the backlash. But Ryan, you not understanding, you work for Disney. You can't be kind of getting in that racial stuff. I understand you Ryan Clark, you got the pivot, people be on there crying and everything, and people be real emotional on your show, and that's you kind of more of the deeper emotional type of sportscaster, but you got to know when to not touch stuff. Let me let that go. Let that. But, don't get me wrong. No, you could. I just feel like, hey, what was the point, bro? Like, Ryan, this is sports, man. Ryan, both sides. That was a hard foul. I think Reese kind of acted a little bit, put a little extra on it, but it was a hard foul. She had to take it. Robert Griffin was trying to draw people off sides. He was trying to draw people off sides when he did that video with his wife in the background, and she was sipping tea. You know what he was trying to do. And you fell for it, bro. You fell for it. Now Robin Griffin has made a video saying that you crossed the line and you made it racist, and you know now he get to call you out. And hey man, let's see how this all unfolds. Let's just see.